right into it.
Okay. I'm Dr. Todd Campbell. I'm the CEO of Backfield in Motion. And Backfield in Motion is a nonprofit organization that is based in East Nashville. We service, and the uniqueness of our program is that we only service males, at-risk males, first grade through high school. We currently have 6 sites that we service: Jolton Middle School, John Early Middle School, Nashville Classical, Inglewood Elementary, Amqui Elementary. And at Lytton Middle School, we have, that's where we're based, but we bring kids from 7 other schools. We bus them from 7 other schools. And we also provide transportation home for our kids, which a lot of programs don't do, but we feel like that's really important. So our main thing is to, this year with the Metro Nashville's Drive for Literacy, we have added elementary schools. This is the first year that we added elementary schools. We were just middle school and high school, in which we did ACT for high schools. But our main focus is literacy and numeracy skills for the kids. We only hire certified teachers to do our after-school program as far as tutoring. We feel like that gives validity to our program, which means our costs are a little higher because we try to pay the teachers what they would make hourly at a school. This year in particular, because based on the Drive for Literacy with the blueprint that Metro Nashville is doing, we want to stay aligned with that. So what we've done is at our elementary schools, we really dove into the literacy piece as far as trying to make sure we donated books to the elementary libraries in order to help fund some of the things that they do, is make sure we have a diversity in their libraries, that the books reflect what they're doing, reflect the kids that are reading the books. Also, one of our big things, and we're kind of using Amqui as a blueprint for if this works, because we would like to move on to Belshire next year and do the same thing and just add more elementary schools over time. Because as you guys know, one of the bigger groups, Martha O'Brien, they're kind of scaling back from doing after-school programs. So we don't want the city to lose that. So we're trying to pick up a little bit on that. Plus, just with and as I said earlier, we have all males. So we want to make sure we help the city focus on, I know right now there's a big push, everybody's kind of focused on juvenile crime. One of our things, we keep the kids for almost 3.5 hours after the day. So by the time we drop them off at home, it's 7 or 7:30. So we feel like we've tried to keep them out of trouble a little bit and just keep them focused on what we need to have them doing. Also in the summertime, we offer a program for the kids where we keep them, it's basically like summer school. We have them from 8 to 4 every day. So we try to keep the kids engaged. We do field trips and all those kind of things. But as I was saying, we as far as the elementary process is concerned, we want to use Amqui as our blueprint. So what we've tried to do is focus on not just the student, but helping the families also. We also offer GED programs for the adults. And let me preface this with this. Everything we do for the kids, there's absolutely no charge. As far as the GED program, the food that we give them, the summer field trips, everything we do, there's no charge to the kids. So we do that because of because I feel like we need to, if we start charging, we'll lose kids. So we do that, which is one of the reasons we have to come to you guys for appropriations. But our main focus with this appropriations is that as a former English teacher, I felt like one of the things, in order for us we're asking kids to focus on reading and improve their literacy, but a lot of pockets in Metro Nashville have a lot of students who are kids of parents who don't speak English very well or not at all. So it's kind of hard for us to say, hey, we want you to work on these literacy skills, and then when you go home, try to read too, because the parents at home don't have that same thing. So what we're trying to offer is like some adult classes for those parents of our students. We already do things like financial planning with our parents and those types of things, but I think if we're asking the kids to improve their literacy, we have to be in a situation where we can also improve the literacy of the adults that are with them. Because what we do now, we read books. So if the kids read the book in our program, instead of giving the book back to us, I want them to keep the book, because the intent is that if they keep the book and they take it home, someone else in that family will want to read that book also. And we purposely pick certain books that we feel like the whole family that could be engaged in. So one of the things that we've done at AMQI is we've hired the teachers. We specifically sought out their teachers who were bilingual. So we've hired a couple of their teachers because there's a big Spanish population at AMQI. So we've hired a couple of their bilingual teachers. We also hired their interpreter to talk to families for us and those type of things. Because I speak Spanish, but my Spanish is very, very bad. I guess bad as in not very good. But so we've intently sought out people who could help us with that. So that's one of the main focuses. So obviously when you get to hiring extra people as far as trying to translate and those types of things, you get into other expenses. But our intent is to make sure that we're able to provide services for those families. And we want those families to come, because what we've noticed is a lot of families are hesitant to put their kids in after-school programs simply because there's a language barrier. So we want to make sure we can cut that off and include those students and what we do. We also we provide stuff we take the kids Christmas shopping at no expense to them. Each kid gets $100. We have dinners for them, and we just go out and fundraise for these things. But we feel like it's very important to make sure we keep those kids involved in everything we do. We actually we currently have 213 kids, and they're all boys. As I said, we service those kids. So at Christmas, not only will we take them Christmas shopping, we will. This past year we bought 213 pullovers with Backfield Emotion on, because we want them to go to school and have other kids wanting to join our program, because we're trying to reach as many young males as we possibly can. But as I said, the bigger thing is that at AMQI, because our drive is to get more kids involved earlier at the elementary schools, we feel like we're going to have to offer more things at the elementary level, and obviously like a mushroom it'll build. So with that being said, next year, as I said, we want to add Belshire Elementary, and then our hope is that if the Hispanic population works at what we're doing in AMQI, we can branch it out into South Nashville. But it's a process.
Why do you call it Backfield in Motion?
So originally it started almost 20 years ago. A man, he had some kids he was at NBA, and kids were coming to NBA playing for him, but he was taking them back to East Nashville, and he's like, it's not fair for these kids, because they're at NBA and they get this stuff, but then I have to take them back home. So it was originally started it was sports. It was just all sports to get more minority kids involved in sports. And then it just kind of morphed into, working on literacy skills, numeracy skills, and I've just taken over in the last year. So now our main focus is the academic piece, but we use athletics as the incentive to get the guys out, because we try to impress upon them. Just because you can play sports, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make it to the league, because every kid wants to be LeBron, or I used to say Jordan, but I have to say LeBron now. But so we try to impress them. So, and we also hire guys who were like I played in college. My son played at Tennessee. We have a lot of guys from Tennessee. We have a lot of different guys who play ball. So we try to hire those guys as our mentors, so the kids can see these guys now have their degrees, and we try to push that to them.
I got a couple of questions. So is Metro Schools providing you the space free of charge?
Yes, ma'am.
That's good.
That's very good.
Yes. And then
and it's kind of a service for them too.
Yeah. And then I was also wondering, how many actual employees do you have? Are you guys basically a volunteer-run organization other than the teachers that you hire?
So we have 5 full-time employees, including me.
Okay.
And then, as I said, we go to each school, and we depending on how many kids we have, like we have 60 kids at AMQI, but we have 25 kids at Jolton. So depending on how many kids we have, we'll hire that amount of teachers. We try to have 1 teacher per 10. So we'll try to hire, whatever that number reflects. But we don't really have volunteers. We have volunteers that help do stuff, but as far as what the kids are concerned, we hire them, as I said earlier, just to give the validity of our program, to make sure that the kids are teaching. And we try to hire the teachers from that school, so we are doing what that school, what their mission is and what their main focus is.
Okay. So you're probably going to ask your question, right?
Are there any specific outcomes related to literacy that you're tracking?
Yes, so we take their MAP scores, and obviously, you hear we want to have this amount of growth in this year and this amount of growth, and that sounds great. But when you're not starting at the finish line, at the beginning, but you're starting a little farther back, we have to try to just kind of drive where we're from. So our outcomes is basically just to show growth each year. Whether that, and for some kids that, that growth level is going to be different. So we don't really have a number that we shoot for, but depending on the students that we have, we just want to make sure that we show growth. Not a considerable amount of growth, but you have to,
And then are you or have you been engaged at all with the Adult Literacy Collaborative? Or do you know about that?
I guess not. Because we do our own kind of adult literacy. I did meet with, I think her name is Chrissy, at the Nashville Adult Literacy. She and I met. But the thing is, we wanted to do something with them, but they charge. So it was kind of a situation where I felt like we would just start our own kind of adult help as far as that's concerned.
Your annual operating budget.
Well, it's gone up in the last year because we went from 98 kids to 213. But on an average, with in-kind donations and everything, we typically spend about $700,000. Our biggest expense really is employment of the teachers, as I said, because we hire certified teachers and transportation because we do take the kids home. We pick them up from school and we take them home. So transportation, we have 4 buses and we transport the kids.
So it's an all-male program. What's the selection process when you choose who's going to be a part of the program? Or is it at-risk children? Or is it, how do you?
You just have to be male.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't really, if typically the kids come from the schools that we service. But if there's a kid in Bellevue and the mom wants to bring them to us, because obviously we're not going to transport one student, but if she wants to bring them to us, we'll take them all. But as far as a selection process, you just have to be male. But 90% of our kids, 95% of our kids probably, I would say, are at risk, low socioeconomic kids.
So 30 seconds. What's your biggest success story?
Well, we have a young man who's now on our board. He started out in our program about 15, 20 years ago. His name is Reggie Ford. He's at Owen right now at their school of management. He got a scholarship to NBA. He played football at Vandy. He graduated from Vandy. He was working for a Fortune 500 company. And he's actually done really well, so well that, as I said, he came up through our program. His dad was in prison and all this kind of stuff. And now he's on our board. He's one of our biggest champions for the program.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too.